Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Hardam Trapathy from Trip Law. Today, I want to talk about a very relevant issue that is going on right now in current times. We're basically seeing a lot of ICE showing up at people's homes. So this video is going to address the issue of what do you do as the immigrant if ICE shows up at your house. Now, this is happening more and more frequently under these current political times. And what's going on is a lot of immigrants' rights are being violated at times. And because the government's going to do what they're going to want to do. So you as the immigrant really want to make sure you know your rights that you do have. You have due process rights and you have rights as the immigrant. And you want to know how to execute those rights so that way you're protecting yourself and your status here in the United States. And so this is a very important video for those who may have loved ones as well who may be undocumented immigrants where there may be an ICE order out or an order for an arrest. And what do you do at that point when ICE does show up at your house? So a very serious issue. Families, are being separated at the moment because sometimes mistakes can be made in that process, but also because immigrants may say certain things that could jeopardize their case in the future. So very important video, very near and dear to our hearts here at our firm. And we just want to make sure that you take this advice and really, hopefully, or this information, and take it to heart because this is going to be very important to protect you in your legal case. So the first thing you want to do if ICE shows up at your door is you don't want to open the door, right? Unless they actually don't even open the door, don't engage them, stay in your home. Unless they have a judicial warrant, right? That's signed by a judge. If you have that if they have that judicial warrant, then by law they are allowed to basically come in. But you want to ask to see the warrant through a window or maybe under the door. They can slip it, but don't actually open the door, right? Because once you open the door, everything's in plain view at that point. So you really want to be very, very careful when you're actually looking at that warrant. Make sure it's not, a false document. Make sure that it's actually signed. Make sure it looks and is a warrant because that's the warrant that's going to allow them to come in. So you want to make sure you have that right. The other thing you want to do is also make sure that the warrant of that removal or deportation, it's called a Form I-205. It's not the only thing that's required, right? It's not enough basically to enter in, right? So they need other judicial documents, which our law firm can talk to you about when you schedule that consultation with us by calling that 863-599-6735 number. And we'll go through your whole case and we'll guide you further on what to do. But ultimately, it's a very stressful situation when officers show up at your door. Sometimes they may be in uniform, sometimes they may not be in uniform, which is why that warrant document is very important. And remember, you do have rights. So you want to make sure you stay silent. You really want to try to do your best to stay calm and just really take in the situation for what it is, but basically have the right, and understanding that right that you have to remain silent because anything you say can be used and held against you in a court of law in later immigration proceedings. So you really want to not put yourself in a tough situation or shoot yourself in the foot, per se, by saying something you did not mean to say under stress or duress that you may be in. So you want to basically know that you do have that right to remain silent. You do not need to answer any questions about your immigration status or what home country you're from. These are things that the attorney can handle. And if you give our law office a call, we're happy to be your attorney if something like this was to ever occur and be on standby to make sure that we are able to communicate with the officers so that way your legal rights that you have are not violated. You also don't want to present any documents that may be false. You don't want to lie to them either because that can have serious consequences for you later down the road. Remember, lying to the government overall is a very bad idea. You never want to lie to them. You want to be truthful as you can if or when you're instructed to speak to them or if it's the right time to speak to them about it. But never present false documentation to them. Try not to hide your identity and things like that through the documentation or lie to the officers because that, like I said, can have serious consequences. Now, they will provide you documents that you will have to sign and things of that nature. Remember, you do not have to sign anything. You want to make sure you review these documents with a lawyer. If you do it without a lawyer, you may not know what you're signing, or you may accidentally waive your rights by signing something that you didn't have full comprehension or knowledge of. And at that point, once you sign it, you've waived those rights. So if you accidentally waive those rights, that can also be detrimental to your case in the future. So it's not a very wise decision to sign any documents without a lawyer. And that's what we would do on your end once we discuss the situation with you, explain you what that form is, explain what the repercussions are of signing that document. Then if you decide to sign after you are knowledgeable about what you're signing and knowing your rights, then it leads to more favorable outcomes. So you want to be very careful on that. The other thing is you want to basically document or record the whole encounter with ICE, because you do have rights to record, especially when you're on your private property and it's your own home. You have rights to record ICE and take any notes that you have, so you're good to go, because that way you know what happened, you document it, and there's proof or evidence of that record of what encounter took place. So you want to make sure you get badge numbers, their names, what they have to say or what they've said, things that happened, basically what time, what date, basically the who, what, when, where, why, and how. And you immediately want to call the immigration attorney, because that's very important, so that way we can monitor the situation as well and record it from a law firm perspective on your behalf. If you have a loved one who is basically detained, our law firm can help you with that as well. But if ICE comes to your workplace or to your home and things of that nature, you just want to be very careful. So very serious stuff with serious consequences. So remember, you have rights. Don't speak, stay silent, because it'll most likely help your case if ICE ever comes to your home. Record and document everything, and make sure you call an attorney, because that's probably going to be in your best interest down the line if or when there is an immigration proceeding. So very serious stuff. We really appreciate you listening in today on this important topic, especially under the current geopolitical climate. We really look forward to working with you and wish you the best. Stay safe out there. This is U.S. Immigration Attorney Hardam Trapathy from Trip Law, and we wish you the best with your immigration journey. Thank you.